The views and opinions expressed by participants in the following public affairs program do not necessarily reflect the position or beliefs of WDEF or its staff.
Since 1954, this is Point of View, the world record-holding public affairs program produced at the studios of WDEF-TV Chattanooga and with underwriting community support.
Welcome to this segment of Point of View. I'm your co-host, Jasmine Holland.
And I'm Amy Lara Kenworthy, and with us we have
Katie Schumacher, one of the volunteer captains for Ironman.
We are here to discuss volunteering at the Ironman in Chattanooga this weekend. So let's go ahead and start. Okay, so what do you do?
I'm a captain of two areas, the kids race, where kids can run a half mile or a mile to be part of Ironman, and I'm also in charge of finding homestays for all of the pros.
That's exciting. So can you talk a little bit about the Ironman this weekend?
For those who don't know, this is the half Ironman distance. It's a 70.3 mile race.
Right.
They're going to swim 1.2 miles in the river, 800 and some odd meters of it upstream. Good luck with that. Then they will bike 56 miles, 40K? No. Yeah, 56 miles, and then they run a half marathon all at once.
Yeah.
one after another.
Yeah.
Now, we're the first city to hold 4 Ironman in 1 year, and I know we're up against some other pretty big cities to do this, like Savannah, Asheville, Hilton Head. What do you think gave Chattanooga the upper edge?
The people, and I think the venue. I think we have set records for volunteers. People come out in droves.
Right.
It's really organized. People have a good time. And I just think the venue's so pretty. I mean, you look at the waterfront. You've got the river. They go up Lookout Mountain. They're, run over all those bridges. You can't beat it.
Right. You're going to do all that, you might as well have something pretty to look at.
I figure if you're going to kill yourself all day, you may have something good to look at.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. So I heard that there are going to be 4,500 contestants of over 91 countries, regions, and territories. Can you name some of the countries that these people are coming
Well,
from?
actually, I was down at the village this morning setting up some of my volunteers, and just in a space of about an hour and 10 minutes, I met people from Sweden, Australia, Germany, Austria, where else were they from? Korea, one that I can't remember.
That's crazy. I did hear, though, that the Prince of Iran is actually coming this weekend.
I did not know that.
Yes,
I might
I
have
saw
to
an
look for
article
him.
yesterday. Yes, I said, oh, I'll host him. You can come to my house. No, just joking.
So, speaking of houses, Chattanoogas are very generous. Over 35 families opened their homes to allow pros to stay with them. So many people offered. I didn't even fill all the beds, but we have 31 pros and family members staying with families in Chattanooga.
That's great. That's fantastic. So we have hosted all of the contestants. Do we have enough volunteers?
Never have enough volunteers. The ones we have are great.
Right.
I called right before coming here. We have about 3,250 volunteers. But due to Hurricane Harvey, which quite honestly, this is an amazing event, but that kind of takes priority.
Of course.
We lost 45 volunteers for Thursday. So we're backfilling people. So anyone who wants to come out this weekend, we'll take you as a volunteer. You can register on the website. It's my understanding there'll be something posted online that you can do.
Yep.
And if you don't want to do that and you're technologically, not good at it, just go down to the waterfront. Go to the base of Chestnut, walk into the volunteer tent and say, what can I do?
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, as a volunteer, what kind of opportunities are there to volunteer? I know I'm checking in bags for the contestants on Friday, but what other kind of things can people do to slide into
You can
those?
be in an area called transition where you are aiding athletes, whether it is coming out of the water to find their bag, to change their clothes, to get rid of everything wet, to get on their bike. You can spray them with sunscreen. You can feed them, food and drink along aid stations, whether they're on their bike or the run. You can help pull them out of the water. You can get on a kayak. You have to have your own, though. And you can help them in the water. You can be on the environmental team. You can clean trash.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Everyone
I'm sure
can
there's going
do
to be a
those
lot of
things,
it,
yeah.
though.
There is a lot of it. You name the job, you can do it. You can even ride a motorcycle and ride around and have a cameraman behind you.
Right.
All right, so
I'm
these
not
are all
doing
things
that.
people can do. Anyone can get involved.
Anyone.
Doesn't matter your age. Now,
Nope.
speaking of age, there's also a child's Ironman.
There's
correct?
Iron Kids.
Okay.
And that is for kids, I want to say 3 to 12 or 3 to 13. They can run a half mile or a mile. Super fun.
Right.
yeah, I think there's well over 100 kids already registered, so it'll be good fun.
So you're never too young to start.
Never too
Never
young
too
to
young to
start.
start.
My son ran his first race when he was 5 years old, and he'll be competing on Sunday.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So-
So tell us a little bit, what do you think goes into training for one of these?
A lot.
It's a financial obligation, it's a lot of time.
The equipment's expensive, traveling to races, these people, especially those with families, they're up at 4 a.m. getting that run in before they get home, feed the kids, get them on the bus, go to work, come home, go to the pool. It's a commitment.
Right.
They are, so.
So if people want to learn more about Ironman, what resources could they go to?
Just type in Ironman 70.3 World Championships.
Yep.
The website will come up. It's an amazing website, actually.
Yeah.
It's really good. It shows the race course. It shows where they're competing. Frankly, if you don't have time to volunteer, look at those maps. Go, take your bike, take your car, go near where the race course is and cheer for them, watch them, be amazed by them.
And you can find them because they'll all be having these backpacks, right?
If you see that backpack around town, all the athletes were given one, wish them luck.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a
definitely.
pretty cool backpack, and they only get it if they manage to qualify to be here.
Right. And welcome them to Chattanooga.
There you go.
Absolutely.
How many of the contestants have you heard say that they feel a sense of Southern hospitality here, and that kind of makes a difference for us hosting this as well?
100%. As an example, I'm hosting a pro. She's a two-time Olympian, and she's been everywhere. And she stayed with us for the 70.3, and when she knew the Worlds would be here, she had so much fun in Chattanooga in the spring. She's like, I got to qualify because I want to come back.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
That's so exciting.
Now, Katie, you're saying there's so many people here, and we have a $1 billion tourist industry here, and I heard that there's 10,000 Ironmen in town with their families spending upwards of $1,000 a piece. How do you think that contributes? What are they spending their money on? Is it just hotels? Are they doing the tourist stuff?
I think it's a little bit of everything. As I said, I was down at the venue this morning. 3 of the athletes I saw check in. As I'm riding my bike back to my car, there they are, sitting at Blue Plate on the patio ordering lunch.
Right.
Trying that Southern sweet tea, right?
100%.
Oh, you got to try it while you're here.
I think they're in the hotels. They're in the restaurants. The number of kids that I saw wandering around, from that big, to this big, and they're going to do Iron Kids, and they're probably going to go to Rock City and the Incline. I mean, they're here for a lot of days. Yeah, they want to see mom and dad race, mom or dad, but you got a lot of hours to fill, and we've got a lot of fun things to do.
Absolutely.
So I think that, I see how they easily spend that.
Yeah, definitely. So I did see in an article that the Chattanooga impact is going to be over $13 million economic impact just in Chattanooga, and $10 million in revenue. That's great. That's fantastic.
And not only that, but the Ironman Foundation gives back to community groups. Matter of fact, their Parks and Recs has been awarded $10,000.
Oh, okay.
They are going to give free swimming lessons to kids. They're going to train kids to be inner-city lifeguards, and kids who can't afford the summer swim league that's here in town, they will get swim cap, goggles, entry, everything.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Katie, if you want to watch the Ironman, where's the best place to go? What time does it start on Saturday?
Okay, so Saturday's the women, Sunday's the men.
Right.
All right.
So on Saturday, we have about 1,700 women. The pros will go off at 7:30. If you have never seen a swarm of amazingly fit, I might add, hot-bodied women, you might want to be at the waterfront at 7:30 or a little before.
Ross's Landing.
Ross's Landing. They will go off from the waterfront. It is an amazing spectacle.
Awesome.
From there, they will loop around. You can watch them from the bridges because they will go up the North Shore, 800 meters, and turn around and come back. So you can be on the bridges, you can be at the waterfront. They will then exit and head up Lookout. So frankly, you could be at the top of Lookout and watch them all struggle up that big old mountain.
That's awesome.
So everyone do their part, come out Friday, Saturday,
Absolutely.
and Sunday? All right.
Well, that's fantastic. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for answering our questions.
No problem.
So next we're going to be talking about emergency preparedness in Hamilton County, especially with all the things that are going on over the United States. When Point of View continues.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.
You make me wear my bike helmet. You taught me never to run with scissors. And to follow the swimming rules.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Thank you for tuning back in to Point of View. I'm your co-host, D'Angelo Jelks. Major accidents, natural disasters, terrorist attacks. Is Hamilton County ready? Today I have with me Duke Kumbelich of P5 Preparedness, the co-owner, and Tony Reevely, the Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management for Hamilton County. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning.
Hello.
How are you?
Outstanding. Please tell me, what is P5 Preparedness?
We are a local preparedness store. It's a retail store. We've been in business for 4 years, and we specialize in helping families, individuals, and groups get prepared for disasters.
Okay. Mr. Reevely, what is your position?
My position is Director of Emergency Management and Homeland Security for Hamilton County.
All right. What all do you do out of that office?
All we do is we plan and prepare to respond to either events or incidents. The definition is events are planned and incidents just happen. So we plan and respond and working with our area partners, whether it be public or private, to prepare our communities to respond to those types of things.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So as of right now, there's a lot going on in the world. Just 2 years ago, Chattanooga itself was attacked. And in Houston and coming up on the coast of Florida, we're having a lot of natural disasters. How do you feel our county stands as far as preparedness?
Well, it's hard. We are our own worst critic, so we continuously try to find ways to improve. We look at every incident. We'll pay close attention to Houston and the Houston response and what lessons learned there to try and improve what we're doing here. We plan for those things daily. Today we're planning for the Ironman event.
Yes, sir.
That happens Saturday and Sunday, and the influx of people. So there's a lot of people in town that normally don't speak English, so we prepare for the translators for there. And emergency response, because we have, 50, 75,000 people that are in town that are normally not here.
Wow.
And then we're on the other side of the stage is we're preparing for potential weather-related issues. We had the last weekend in Houston, and it seems like this weekend Irma and the South Florida thing. So we're actually paying close attention to that to see what that might impact our area, and if we need to do that. We constantly monitor river levels and water levels in the creeks and low-lying areas to make sure that they're not experiencing any situation. Sure. Predictions right now is we're getting up to 2, maybe 3 inches of rain. We hope that prediction stays true, because we should be okay with 3 inches of rain.
Yeah, so we're going to see what the weatherman has to say.
That's exactly right.
Yes, sir. So I'm just wondering from you, as far as the vulnerabilities of our city, of our county, what would you say are the greatest threats, and what are the strengths or the workarounds that you all have come up with to combat those?
Well, I think everything is nature, the weather-related type events, flooding, rain, storms. Thankfully we don't live on the coast, so we don't experience the hurricanes. So we do have, major thunderstorms, tornadic activity. We had tornadoes in 2011 and 2012. Did some damage on the eastern side of our county. So, those weather-related events are a priority. From the industrial side, we have a nuclear facility in our county, so we plan for those things. We mentioned earlier, talking before we got on camera, the evacuation signs. The folks in Houston and now in southern Florida are preparing to evacuate or in the process of evacuating, and people drive through our community all the time and see evacuation signs. Those are the evacuation routes for Sequoia nuclear plant, and those are pre-identified by TVA in our office, so we try to make sure that those passages stay open.
Sure. So, Duke, if you told me that you owned a McDonald's or a Wendy's or some sort of franchise, I'd say okay. But you own P5 Preparedness. First off, what is a P5, and how did you get into that business?
P5 Preparedness, the P's stand for Proper Planning Prevents Poor Preparedness.
Wait a minute, say that again.
Proper planning prevents poor preparedness.
Okay.
If you look at the TV now, with what's going on with Irma, what happened with Harvey before it hit, the grocery stores were all out of food, out of water, and people don't have the necessities. And it really boils down to that they didn't have a plan. They didn't plan ahead. And so when they needed the supplies, a lot of those people didn't have the supplies. So I have a background in human resources and manufacturing, also as a firefighter, as an EMT. I've been a volunteer in emergency management for over 20 years. Wow. And there's just such a need for people, the individual, the group, the family, to really have a plan in place. One thing that's really important is a supply kit that you are ready to take with you immediately. It could be a plastic bin, it could be a bag, something that is ready to go at a moment's notice.
Is that what you brought here with us today? An example of that?
Yes, this is one of our smaller bags. We call this a get-home bag. Okay. And if you think back last year when we had the huge wildfires in Gatlinburg, people had emergency responders knocking on their door, telling them to leave immediately, and they didn't have time to get the necessities that they needed. And so with what we do, we teach a number of classes, medical classes, ham radio classes, lots of preparedness type stuff for the family. And with this kit right here, it basically has all of the essentials that you would need. Starting at this end, we have a ham radio, a weather radio, and this would be a kit that you'd keep in your car, so you may not need everything at the same time. Sunscreen, toilet paper, fire starters, a rain jacket, a first aid kit, and then food and water. In an emergency, those are the most important things. And so with this kit, you've got a water filter, and then you have a big bottle of water and some snacks. And this is what would stay with you in your car.
Okay. So, Tony, being at the top of emergency management for Hamilton County, how would you agree with this packing list?
I agree wholeheartedly. To echo what he says, one of the things we found out is lack of planning and lack of a plan. Sure. And one of the things he alluded to is the kit in the plastic container, and it's made up of water, one of the necessities that we have. Sure. 1 gallon per person per day is kind of the ballpark. Now, I think in the hurricane they're saying a little bit more, but yes. 1 gallon per person per day, and that's for drinking and for sanitation. Yes. So the kits can include, and you talked about those in the plastic containers, is extra clothing, extra food, blanket, yes, a weather radio. One thing's often forgotten is medicine. Wow. And medicine, and if you have children, something to keep your children occupied.
For the kid, absolutely. Hey, Tony, I don't want to cut you off, but I want to make sure that we get the websites for both of you gentlemen. So if you would, please tell people how they can find out more information just about what both of you do.
Okay, and there are links on our website to other websites. Our website is hamiltonready.org. hamiltonready.org.
hamiltonready.org. Yes, and you, sir?
P5preparedness.com.
Okay, that's simple enough.
That's right.
Hey, well, listen, I'd like to thank both of you for coming on the show. You have a wealth of knowledge. I wish we only had more time to learn more about it. Next, on Point of View, women in non-traditional careers.
We need a claim number?
When I started taking care of Mom, I didn't realize the challenge of playing so many roles. But above all, I'm still her daughter.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving. We're here to help.
Hello, welcome back to The Point of View. I am Donna Christian Lowe, your co-host for today. Joining me is a power-packed segment of women who are excelling in careers traditionally dominated by men. So let me welcome my guest today, Dana Vaughn, Assistant Chief Dana Vaughn. Have to put that title in there. Thank you for coming. Sheree Moore, truck driver and CEO of a company. Welcome. And of course, Chanda
Maldonado.
Could you just say it so good? Maldonado. So again, a CEO of a company, welding and fabrication. Wow. First of all, how many women do we see in these careers? Not a lot.
Not a lot.
So Dana, how did you get into the police business? And now you're a chief. An assistant chief,
yes,
that's
ma'am.
huge.
Thank you.
Wow.
I was had a desk job Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and it was driving me crazy. So one of my coworkers suggested that I start applying for the Tennessee Highway Patrol. And while I was doing that process, she also suggested that I apply for Chattanooga since it was closer. So I started that process as well, and 23 years later, here I am.
23 years later, and we're so glad whoever told you that they did, because now we have you. And for welding, we don't see a lot of women in welding. I know you're not a welder, but I can't imagine when you have to go into meetings as the CEO of a welding and fabrication company. How did you get into it?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I originally started with the idea, and I have a partner who's amazing, so it fit. On top of, I wanted a very flexible schedule so I could spend time with my daughter, so I can raise her. So it just fell in my lap, and I just rose to the challenge.
I love it. I love it. And women, we don't see a lot of truck drivers, female truck drivers, especially African-American female truck drivers who decided to do it and do it big. How did you get into truck driving?
Well, trucking was in my blood. My dad, my mother had their CDLs, and I decided to get mine.
And now you're rolling,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Now, this would not be a story unless we talked about the men. So I'm just curious, and this is not a male bashing segment, but this is about women. How many times have you heard, Dana, well, okay, you might be able to do the job. Maybe. How many times have you been compared to your male counterparts?
I have to say, though, I have a very strong support system at the department. Most of my coworkers along the way have been very encouraging. And even if someone did plant the seed that maybe I couldn't do the job, I always had somebody come right back around and say, you know, don't doubt what you can do.
Absolutely.
So
And we know
had
that
a good support system.
Not all men think that women can't do it. We
Right.
know that, right?
Right.
We know that
Right.
we are empowered, especially through the police department. But there are still those things that happen. So for truck driving, you and I talked about it, and I know you've still been questioned. Even recently, somebody said, well, why would they want you to be on TV?
Right.
How do you respond to that?
Well, I introduced them to sheet trucking. Sheet trucking, you know, we bring out the greatness in us, you know, trying to recognize women in the trucking industry. We have to go over and beyond as a woman.
Well, back in the 40s, what's interesting is they were saying, hey, women, we want you to be welders. We want you to be every trade there is. It's not so much now, but there was such a need and a demand in the society.
Yeah.
Do you often reflect then and where we are?
Well, you know, I'm going to tell you, the biggest push that I had, the reason I really went head into this is because I believe a lot of girls are not given the opportunity to be whom they are.
You can't be what you can't see.
Absolutely. So it's to me, I do a lot of speaking events. I do a lot of things to bring out that women can do anything that they want to do. But as parents, we have to introduce them to it. So, you know, my daughter recently got a go-kart for her birthday. So he changed the oil with her. He helped her change the tire. Those things are getting them active for a career dealing with their hands. And we need that. We have to have labor. This country is built on it.
Well, when you think about the workforce development, where we are now as a city, where we are just as a nation, we are needing more women in the workforce. But what are we doing to do that? And that's what I hope this segment does do. I hope it plants a seed that for truck driving, absolutely you can do it. Absolutely you can be the assistant chief of police. But I want to talk about the other side of this for a minute. When there's a woman such as yourself, such as myself, there's always another side to us. Now, you are going to kill me for this, but I saw you just won a huge marathon in your category.
That was actually a 5K.
A 5K?
Yes.
Okay, marathon,
Yes.
it's all the same to me. It's a marathon. But tell us about that. What made you do that?
That's one of the regular races that we try to participate in yearly. It's the 5K for FCA. It's a fundraiser for the kids, the college students. So luckily on that day, you know, the elite runners like Jen Gautier didn't show up. So I was able to actually score a personal best in my age group.
That's
so
awesome.
I know it's the first time it's ever happened.
And
so
I want to
very
toot your
grateful.
horns, every pun
Thank
intended
you.
today. So I want to toot the horns of Chenda, of Dana, and Sheree, but also of those out there, the Sherees, the Dana. So what do you give to the viewers? You said it. We got to get in there and talk to girls more. You can't be what you can't see. I hope that the young African-American females in the schools see you, you. So in our closing, we've got about a couple of minutes, what would you give advice or direction from you to the girls who are watching this segment?
I would definitely say to teachers to invite different career paths to the schools. I think that we have to start young. I think that we need to, in Girl Scouts and things of that nature, not just talk about baking and how pretty you look, but to go and dive into, you know, more labor-intensive things. Chattanooga is a wonderful place. We're all about the environment. So it's a great opportunity to add some of that wood shop and things of that nature.
Yes, I'm with you. So women who are out there, young girls who say, I want to be a police officer, but I'm not sure. What would you tell them?
Well, like Chonda, there are people who don't want to sit behind a desk, and they need some action and they need some distraction all during the day. So law enforcement is the perfect job for that, because no 2 days are ever the same. It's a constant, you're just going and going and going. So for the girls that even entertain, that think they might want to go into law enforcement, I would strongly encourage it. Happy to come talk to whomever.
Well, we're going to take you up
wherever.
on that.
Yes,
So for those who are out there and you hear this,
yes.
please message us on Facebook, reach out to us, comment. We'll
Happy
get
to do
Dana
that.
and the other
Yes.
females in the
Yes.
department there. But that's what this is about. And for truck driving, what can they do? A quick overview. What can they do real quick to get in touch with you?
SheTrucking.com. For girls, I just want to tell them that you can be whatever you want to be. Do not let anyone tell you that you cannot be anything.
Because they can, and we know that. So in closing, I just want to say a couple of things. One, Dana, Sheree, and Chanda, thank you. You're all leaders in this city. People are watching you, and it's not easy being under that eye all the time. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Assistant Chief?
Absolutely.
However, when you get women together, we have proven what? It's a force.
Powerful.
We're powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah, so any closing remarks? How can they find out about your company?
Definitely visit our website. It's chambersweldingandfabrication.com.
Okay, and if they were interested in any projects, again, they can go right through that site, because I see everything on Facebook. I see everything from railing to corporations.
Structural steel, yes, anything.
Yes, and we know SheTrucking.com, is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay, is there a direct number to reach you? No? Okay, that's okay. Do we know the city government's website?
Well, if you're 21 or older and you want to go ahead and fill out an application, yes, go to www.chattanooga.gov and go to police.
So,
and we'll be happy to.
On a stat, I'm curious, we don't have a lot of women applying, do we?
No,
okay.
we do not.
All right, so in that, we thank you, ladies. We got to have you back to do a longer segment, obviously, but education, keep an eye on the prize. That and more on the next Point of View.
Closed captioning provided by the following.
Funding for this program is brought to you by Barnett & Company, specializing in tax-efficient strategies for the preservation and distribution of family wealth, offering continuous investment management with a focus on long-term strategies. Areas of service include investment, estate, education, and retirement planning. Barnett & Company, the power of compound returns over time. More information can be found on the web at barnettandcompany.com.